In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use a 555 timer chip. We'll talk about how to read the schematic and how you can change the values of your circuit. So here's all the components that you're going to need in order to build your 555 timer circuit. We got jumper wires, 3 1 kilo ohm resistors, a 555 timer chip, an LED, and a capacitor. So in this video, I'm going to take you from electrical schematic, interpreting this, and creating this circuit on a breadboard. Now I'm going to use a program called Fritzing. There's a similar program called Tinkercad, circuits that you could use to digitally plan out my circuit. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the schematic for my 555 timer circuit, and I'm going to create that circuit on a breadboard. So to start out with, I'm going to look for my 555 timer chip, find an appropriate component that will fit on my breadboard. I can choose where to go. There you can see that as I connect the 555 timer circuit, those green indicators light up, showcasing that I've made connection with all of those terminal strips. Now, in order to understand how to make connections with the 555 timer, I need to understand what pins here on my 555 timer chip correspond to the numbers shown here on my schematic. So let's take a closer look at the 555 timer chip. Here we're looking at a magnified version of the 555 timer chip. You can see it's from Texas Instruments. And the key thing to here is to notice the notch here. This notch lets you know what each of these pins are. And so if we see this notch, we can know this is pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that we know the pin layout for our 555 timer chip, we can start making connections on the breadboard. From here, I can go ahead and start making connections. If I want to be very specific, I can make changes to make sure my color codes are going to match what I actually use in real life. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and connect pin 1 of my 555 timer to what I'm going to use as the ground or my low potential power rail. Okay, so from here, it's just a matter of making connections with wires and then finding the components to put onto the breadboard. You go ahead and do the work planning out. Sometimes you got to make little modifications. This will help you have a plan when you go to make your circuit on the breadboard. All right, so let's take a look at what this is going to look like as we connect it on the breadboard. Okay, first step is we're going to connect pin 1 of our 555 timer circuit to the low voltage power rail. Next, I'm going to connect pins 2 and 6, and we will come back to those later to make additional connections. From here, I'm going to connect pin 3 to a 1 kilo ohm resistor, which is going to share a connection with my LED. Now, with my LED, I got to make sure I take care of the polarity. So I want to put the negative polarity connected to the power rail. I'm going to connect my anode of my LED to the same terminal strip as the 1 kilo ohm resistor and connect the cathode of my LED connected to the negative power rail. Next, I'm going to connect pin 4 to the positive power rail. Pin 5, I'm not going to connect anything to. And then pin 6, I need to create another part of the circuit first. So I'm going to hold off on pin 6, additional connections. And same thing with pin 7. Pin 8, I am going to connect to the positive power rail. Okay, from here, I need to grab my capacitor, and I'm going to connect the cathode, the short leg of my capacitor, to the negative power rail. And I'm connect the anode to row 25 there on my terminal strip. From there, I'm going to take one of the 1 kilo ohm resistors and connect that to the anode from 25 to 30. And then I'm going to take another 1 kilo ohm resistor and connect that from row 30 to the positive power rail. Okay, now I'm going to take a green wire and on row 25 between the resistor and the capacitor, I'm going to make a connection, and I'm going to connect the other part to pin 6 and pin 2 of my timer chip. Then I'm going to connect a gray wire in between the two 1 kilo ohm resistors here. And I'm going to make a connection with pin 7 on my 555 timer. Next, I'm going to connect the two power rails on the top and bottom together. Once we connect the battery, we can see that we are getting our 555 timer circuit to work where our LED is blinking. Now, how fast that blinks and stays on is dependent on how you set up your circuit. So depending on what type of resistors you use and what type of capacitor you use, you can change how quickly that light flashes and how long the light stays lit. Here we are at the DigiKey 555 timer calculator, and this is a great tool and resource you can use if you are working with 555 timer chips. So the way we have our chip set up is considered an Astable configuration. So if we take our values that we used a 1 kilo ohm resistor for R1 and a 1 kilo ohm resistor for R2 and a 470 microfarad capacitor, right? What you'll find is we get a time high at around 600 milliseconds, a time low at around 300 milliseconds for a frequency of around 1 hertz. Now, what does that mean? That means that the time the light is off is around 300 milliseconds or zero point 0.3 seconds, and that the time high, or the time that the LED is on, is around 600 milliseconds. Obviously, by changing these resistor values, we could modify that time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is change my R1 value, and what you see is I increase the amount of time that the LED would be on. I don't change the amount of time that the LED is off. Now I'm going to go ahead and set that back, 1 kilo ohm, 1 kilo ohm. Now if I change R2 in my circuit, what you'll see is the low time gets changed, right? So now, all right, so if I change R2, what you see is the time high and time low have changed and the frequencies changed. And so we're able to modify the circuit by changing these things around. One of the most maybe intuitive things to change would be the capacitance value. So as I increase my capacitance, let's change this to 800, right? We're decreasing the frequency, and that's because it's taking longer to charge and discharge that capacitor. If I were to lower the capacitance value, you're going to see that my frequency is higher because it's quicker to charge and discharge that capacitor. This video is part of a larger project that you can find out more about on our website at htm-workshop.com. Also, check out some of our other videos.